Hello my art journal junkie friends, this is Trish. So I've posted a couple of pictures as I've been going along with my COVID journal, which is what this little thing standing here is called. Well, that's what it was called to me, and now it has got a completely different name because it's 2.5 years later. But that's how long it took me to actually finish it off, despite the fact that I tried to do a journal a page. No, that came out all wrong. I tried to journal a page a day. Forgive me, this is not a voiceover, so there's no script here. Anyway, what I want to show you is I like to make my own journals, and many years ago I became part of Tisha Moore's Artstronauts Club, which sadly has fallen by the wayside because Tisha took ill and wasn't able to continue. Nevertheless, I learned a lot from her, and so the journal here that I've put together is completely handmade. I will put a link for you if you're interested in seeing how to make your own journal. So effectively, I've got 2 of the journals that I've put together. I've also put a cover around it, and I'll get to the cover right at the end. So let's open up. Spoiler alert, if you're sensitive to anything politically motivated, if you don't like anything about opinions on COVID, vaccines, etc., then this is not meant to insult anybody. Please keep your opinions to yourself, just as I will respect your opinions. I hope you will respect mine. That's the last page, so well, when I say last page, it sort of is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of paper there just so that I can leave it for the moment. So in January 2020, COVID hit the world. And just so that you're all also aware, I am in the medical field and I have treated COVID patients, so I'm very sympathetic to the fact that there is such a disease and such a virus. However, a lot of the media attention, etc., is also not my cup of tea, and that was written yesterday when I finished off my journal, so I'm going to cover it up until the last moment. Right. In March 2020, the president of our country, and I live in South Africa, announced on national television that we were going into a 21-day lockdown in order to try and curtail this pandemic that was attacking the world. Everybody was meant to stay home. We had to be indoors by 7, I think it was, at night. We weren't allowed to go out. All businesses were closed down except for essential services such as petrol stations. Why, I don't know, because we couldn't use our cars, but I suppose it's because we needed to go and buy groceries and go to the supermarkets and the pharmacies. Anyway, so I decided that in the days that I was able to stay home, that I would journal the 21 days of lockdown. And I really believed in it. I believed that 21 days would make a difference in our world. I didn't know we didn't know where COVID was, what it was doing, how we were going to treat it. But nevertheless, 21 days, in my opinion, was going to help to maybe solve the problem. How naive. So my first page was called 21 Days of Lockdown, the World is Closed for Repairs. And then what I did was I wrote, you can't really read it up properly because I wrote it up in black, and I see now perhaps I should have chosen different colors, but it was the words to the song about make the world a better place for you and for me. I'm not going to sing it. I can't sing. All right, page 1. Day 1. Why have I got it like that? Sorry, I beg your pardon. Day 1 was the cover. What I did was I noted down each day that we were in lockdown on somewhere here, and I noted down how many COVID positive patients there were being reported again on national TV, and how many deaths. So On day 2 in South Africa, we had 1,187 reports of COVID positive patients with 1 death. And my diary here was that flattening the COVID-19 curve was really, for me, something that I could focus on. So I wrote here, hashtag flatten the curve. COVID-19 only focuses on things I can focus on. What did I write here? Do you know, I can't even read it properly. However, it says control and be kind, stay informed. Okay, so only focus on things I can focus on. Control and be kind, stay informed, breathe deeply, keep myself grounded and positive, and be compassionate. This is all in the style of Tisha Moore that I was speaking about earlier on. Acrylic background, collage, doodling, and then obviously my own handwriting. Right, now you open it up and we go to, I beg your pardon, I'm so sorry about the shiny bit here, but I've got a really, really shiny desk. Okay, so day 3 and day 4, this spread was about family, love, imagination, creativity, home, etc., etc. I found this girl, I altered her again. I did a border around with collage. This was Monday the 30th of March. At that stage we had 1,280 people positively and 2 deaths. I'm not going to continue on that and tell you how many each page as I go by, but that was just for my personal notification for future reference. And yeah, I said, let's rise up and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, then at least we did not get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us all be thankful. And that's a quote by Buddha. This is a flip out of the page. Well, it's one page that flips out, so it's a double spread. On day 5, I needed to look for the beauty in life, and the beauty of life is in each precious moment. Already by that day I was starting to feel a little bit, how should I put this, homebound and stuck. It was terrible, not being able to go out, not being able to see my family, having to mask up, etc., etc. This is a little envelope with a little secret story that reminds me to stop and smell the roses. Just a little something for me. And it's just a little envelope I made with printed paper that I had in my stash, magazine images that I've altered, and again some notes, etc. Right, the following day, now bear in mind I was in and out of home, so my poor husband is the one who, I'm trying to get rid of that shine, but it's not going. So my poor husband was the guy who was stuck at home because in his business, he wasn't considered an essential business, so he was home for the 21 days. Anyway, I'm going to close that up. This was day 6, and I found a picture of a pot plant, a doorway. I added some of my own little leaves, and I wrote there, indoors the new outdoor, which it was. And talking about that, at 7 o'clock at night, people would come out onto their balconies or in their houses, and they would bang their pots and pans to make a noise, to show appreciation for all the healthcare workers. And hell, they made a big noise. So thank you to all the people who supported the healthcare workers. Right, day 7, nostalgia hit in. I made the border of all the photographs from a birthday party that my husband and I had celebrated, where we had taken over an entire hotel and had a wonderful birthday party down in the Karoo, at a theatrical hotel, so everybody had to dress up sort of a la Moulin Rouge. I don't know if you can actually see, but that's my husband and myself there. We were dressed up. In fact, everybody was, and it was wonderful. So I put that down, and then I found a beautiful set of jewelry rings, which I collaged on, and I wrote, "Family and friends are hidden treasures. Seek them and enjoy their riches." That was day 7. Again, this journal flips out to another page. Here I had, on my silhouette cutter, I had cut out this tree of life in black cardstock, and I didn't know what to do with it. I found it in my stash, so I made little blocks of, I think this was one piece of paper that was like flowery. At any rate, I cut it up and then spaced them apart, glued them down, and added the tree of life. And that day I wrote, "Like the branches of a tree, we are all connected," which is so true. Okay. Right. Oh, I love this journal, I really do. Here I made another pocket. This is just a picture out of a magazine of some beautiful watch. You know, I love bling, so of course all the diamonds got to me, and maybe one, I think it's a Philippe Patek Philippe, I forget how you say it, watch. Nevertheless, again, some little things out of my stash, and with a little heart. We all need love. We really did. By that stage, we were all in huge dire need of being with our friends, our family. We were missing them. My eldest son was stuck on a ship in outside of San Francisco. It was just a horrific time. He was also quarantined on the ship. So I wrote here, "We must find time to stop and thank the people who are making a difference in our lives." And this goes back to the tree and the people that were banging the pots and pans, and also the people around us, because thank goodness for WhatsApp, you know, and Zoom and the internet, because that was how we were able to keep in touch with family and friends and people who meant so much to us. And that was how we were able to at least have some sort of social interaction. Right, day 10. By day 10, I was querying my angels and saying, "Come on, angels, what are happening here?" And it was also around the time of Pesach and Easter, and so I found a piece of Hebrew text. I took this lady, I thought this was a beautiful picture, embellished her, gave her some butterfly wings with a little bit of jelly roll hair to her hair, and I wrote here, "Angels speak to those who silence their minds long enough to hear." Now, by this stage, you could work out that I was losing my plot with COVID-19. Nevertheless, I found this. Now, this guy actually is very interesting, because this is actually a photograph of a chair. That's the cushion of the chair. Okay, I put in all the little zigzaggy thingies to give it some teeth, and I put in an eye. But that was actually a chair that was suspended on a piece of chain, and I thought that was rather interesting. I gave it a body, and I wrote here, "We're halfway through, okay. Who's having a whale of a time?" Definitely not me. It really wasn't. It was a horrible time. Right. What day? Day 12. By day 12, my business partner and I had worked out that those of us with really healthy immune systems were not actually getting sick, despite the fact that we were in constant contact with ill people, and we weren't suited up like you see on the TV. Sure, we had to wear masks occasionally, but we're rebels, so we didn't wear masks. But we realized that no one is immune to this disease, all right? We were obviously very fortunate, and I wrote here, "It might take a year, it might take a day, but whatever is meant to be will always find its way." So yeah, I don't know, be open to whatever comes next. And at this stage already, we were already querying. The president was saying we might extend the lockdown, which of course many South Africans were happy about and others weren't. So at that stage, on day 13, I figured, well, we will never see the world through the same eyes ever again. And ain't that the truth? I mean, everything changed, really, really everything. Even though life has sort of gone back to normal, it's just never going to be the same as it was before. I lost a lot of dear friends and a couple of family members to COVID. And yeah, life will never be the same again. Day 14 is we're all a bit mad around here because we got cabin fever. We really, really did have cabin fever, especially my husband. So, again, just, doodling, my writing, some collage, what's happening. And then day 15, and just like that, power, fame, money and beauty are worthless. I really realized it didn't matter how much money you had. If this thing was going to get you, it was going to get you. It didn't matter if you were beautiful, if you had lots of money, or if you were famous. We were all in the same boat. Be happy in the moment, for it is your life. All along the way, I tried, hang on, let's open it up, there we go. All along the way in this journal, I tried to be positive, to to allow myself to look back on these times and actually just enjoy the art process, but also to remind me of what I was thinking of, and also to journal exactly what was happening in the world at that time. Well, according to in South Africa, I must say. So be happy in the moment, for it is your life. That's just, again, collage that I play around with. And I thoroughly enjoyed that page on day 16. Right. Days 17 and 18 was 17, 18, 19 was the complete spread. Let me see if I can get it completely into, there we go. And the complete spread was about being, I just felt I needed some sort of rainbow of colors, So my background, I just slapped on acrylic paints from pinks to yellows, which made orange, to greens, to turquoises, to blues, etc. And I wrote here, if you reduce life to black and white, which these rocks or cairns, if you reduce life to black and white, you will never see the rainbow. And we had become so black and white, it was, and that not from a political perspective, but we were just so boxed in that there was no color in our lives anymore. And, living in South Africa, we're very fortunate. We see lots of wild animals in our parks. I'm an elephant fan, and South Africa has always been fondly known as the Rainbow Nation. So my Ellie got, I don't know what that was, but it was a glass, I think. But anyway, it became a crown. And his ears were butterfly wings, which became his ears, I guess. And although I said South Africa is the Rainbow Nation, I also asked, or are we? Because, things were just going from bad to worse. And, we were being stuck in this whole awful situation. Right, close up. Let's go on. Page 20, or day 20. Of course, I had to do it all upside down and make a mistake, but anyway, it wasn't really a mistake. It was quite purposeful. So I wrote here, try not to resist the change that comes your way, and do not worry that your life is turning upside down. How do you know the side you are used to is better than the one to come? So, I was feeling like my whole life was turned upside down at that stage. But Rumi came through again with an amazing quote. And again, I just doodled, collaged, have got no clue what this thing is, but it made my heart happy. And then day 21, this was the day that we were supposed to end. And I was really feeling very positive. I found this beautiful girl, have no clue where I found her, which magazine, but I gave her some funky colored hair with jelly rolls, and I wrote, hold the intention by sending light into the world, and you will raise its vibration. One of the things in our practice is we use vibrational energy as well, and well, I suppose you could call it vibration, biorefeedback, bioresonance feedback. I told you this is not scripted, so forgive me, I do stumble over my words. But I was so confident that we had so few people actually passing away. I mean, in the rest of the world, there were hundreds and hundreds of people passing away, and in South Africa, it was almost like, I know it's not meant to sound this way, but we were very fortunate that it was only such a small number. Having said that, our president then gave us some news, which is why this page came about, because this, if I show you here, this book here, I don't know if you can see, but this is the first journal, okay? That's a 16-page journal. That is my Tisha Moore journal. And then this one here, I really want to cover up because I don't want to spoil the fun here. Then this lot here is another 16-page journal. So originally I'd finished the first journal, and then our president said, and he used to call it a family meeting. So forgive I tried not to swear in my journal, but anyway, I would have said a worse word, okay, but I wrote frigging. So we had another family meeting on TV where he said, right, the 21 days have now been extended for another 14 days. Everybody's got to stay home. So we thought the world was going to be open for business. Clearly not. And I was questioning, will it ever end? The next day, which would have been the first day of the next 14 days, which now becomes day 22, I decided, okay, it's time to write the next chapter. So we're getting locked down for another 14 days. It's a new chapter. Off we go. So that's that page. Days 23 and 24 were, by this stage, I'm sure you can realize I was getting a bit fed up. But anyway, I tried to continue to be creative, and I wrote here, don't just go with the flow, be the flow. And I did become very vocal, I must be honest, on Facebook, because by this stage they were talking about people having vaccines, etc., and I was letting my friends know my feelings on it, and actually I lost a lot of friends. But you know what, you got to also remember that when people leave your life, they're the ones who miss out. Anyway, so if you're watching this, you missed out. Right, so I decided I would be the flow and I would do something about this. So we got cracking, my business partner and myself. We put together the most amazing antiviral immune booster kit. And let me tell you what, we had one of the ambassadors actually come in and say to us, guys, you saved my life. So, yeah, I was very chuffed with that. I started becoming active in our medical community and our integrative medicine community, which we're a part of. And enough said. Day 25 in total. We cannot tell what may happen to us in the strange medley of life, but we can decide what happens in it and what we do with it. And I'd lost my little feeling of arty-farty here, so that was just a very simple, I cut out circles from bits of paper that I found that I thought were interesting, I don't know, colors and textures, and with a white gel pen just made scribbles. That's day 25 and day 26. Right. Day 27, I started feeling hopeful again. Eventually everything connects. And I knew that the world would right itself on its axis, and that was my idea with this one. I don't know what this is. I don't know where I got it. This obviously is some bit of a clock, I think. That was a picture of the world. But anyway, I collaged that everything connects. And it does, eventually. Right, this is a little bit of politically motivated from my point of view, not meant to influence anybody. Please remember, it's my opinion. It was my journal. I'm just sharing it. If you don't agree with me, just like hit pause here, scroll forward, do something. But don't hate me for it. It was my feeling. This is a picture. I was very fortunate to see the Cirque du Soleil Mystère in Las Vegas one year. And so I used one of the characters, and I said, mystery is a board game as well. So I said, just like the board game, I forgot to put in the word board, we are being played by Big Pharma, Anthony Fauci, and greedy political, who are now responsible for committing the most heinous crimes against humanity. And the biggest ones are the sheeple who don't question the motives and just do what they're told to do. Not me. I will fight them. My opinion, remember, please, not meant to influence anybody. Please don't put any hate speech at the bottom. Let's move on. Okay. On day 9 of the next 14 days, which was day 30, by this stage, some of us weren't feeling as sane as we should be. And actually, I'd found a lot of depression happening in some of the patients coming in. So by this stage, my husband and I had cottoned onto Wild Earth on YouTube. Wild Earth is a group of different game lodges in South Africa that got together, and they would have game drives. And so we would watch the game drives every morning and every evening. And we love rhinos, and I was really upset to see this picture of a rhino without its horn. I know they're dehorning rhinos to save them, but I still feel like, those guys were born with them. Leave them on them, and let's rather just try and protect them some other way. But this is how the conservationists are doing it, and I'm not educated enough. So, but anyway, we stayed sane by watching Wild Earth. Then this is a lovely old Chinese proverb: fall down 7, get up 8. I think somebody at one stage during the day had said something to me about, I just don't seem to be able to get up anymore. And it came to me that I remembered this little Chinese proverb. And so I found myself an image of a girl who had fallen flat on her face, but she still had balloons in her hands, so that was all positive. And she fell down 7, and I hope she got up 8. Then, no inspiration on this day. Truly, truly, truly no inspiration. This is just the South African flag. I was really feeling so sad. Our poor country was in economic turmoil. Prices of food had got up. People had lost their jobs. Companies were closing down. And I just wanted to almost write you a cry, our beloved country. And one day maybe I will write that in here. But anyway, I just put our national anthem, Nkosi Sikeleli Afrika. Anyway, I'm not going to read it to you. And then on day 14, be so completely yourself that everyone else feels safe to be themselves too. As I said, I was so completely myself, but some of my friends didn't like it, and they're no longer friends. Well, tough. That's what's it saying? People come into your life for a reason or a season, something like that. Clearly, some of them only came into my life for a season, but I learned from it. And then this was my musings when I finished the journal, and I made the cover. I wrote this yesterday, also musings that, I've become jaded about this whole pandemic, hence the name of the journal, Pandemic, Plandemic. So there it is, very simple Pandemic, Plandemic journal, and that's me. Take that, COVID. So, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this flip through. I know I get a bit chatty at times, but be that as it may, there it is. You take care of yourselves, be safe, and I'll see you again sometime soon. Bye for now.